It's been a gut-wrenching saga for Greg the barber. His friend and employee, Abraham Shakespeare, goes missing after winning millions in the lottery. Now, Greg is working undercover for the police, trying to get justice for his pal. And when Dee Dee Moore tells him she needs to set somebody up for the murder of Shakespeare, his worst fears for his friend are confirmed.
It made me feel like, okay, mission's not over. It's not complete.
It had to be heartbreaking to learn that Abraham was in fact dead.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, but at the same time, it was a blessing to be able to help him out like he helped me.
But Greg has to keep it together. The trap has been set, with an undercover cop posing as a man willing to take the rap for killing Shakespeare. All Greg needs to get is the murder weapon from Dee Dee. And police add one more thing to their wish list. They also want Greg to get her to tell him where the body is buried.
See, I tell her, listen, if we gonna convict this guy, let me get the gun. If you got it, I ain't saying you got it, but if you got it, if you know who got it, bring me the gun that killed him so we can pin it on him.
So she turns this gun over to you.
She brings me the gun.
It was a Smith & Wesson hammerless .38 special with an integrated laser sight, which we had found receipts of her purchasing at a local gun shop and actually training and using the firearm at the local gun shop range.
Then she tells me about where Abraham is buried at.
Dee Dee takes Greg to a property she owns in nearby Plant City, Florida, and points out a big fresh slab of concrete in the yard.
When she took me to the body, we had a piece of rebar iron that was over by the concrete. I told her, I said, listen, I'm not gonna get out the truck because I don't want nobody to see us together. What I want you to do is take that piece of steel and go set it on the concrete where his body's buried.
That same day, police move in to take over.
We had secured the entire property with deputies, and we were going to hold it until the following morning when we can get heavy equipment and the right personnel out there to begin basically an exhumation.
More than 9 months since he was last seen alive, the body of Abraham Shakespeare is recovered at last. And Dee Dee Moore is arrested.
Well, I hope you're still gonna look for the people like that.
Well, I've got one of them in my hands right now.
It appears that they probably got into some type of disagreement over his money. It appears that she placed 2 rounds in his abdominal region and chest region.
Police say that Moore had her ex-husband dig a hole with a backhoe, telling him only that she needed a pit to burn trash. They say Dee Dee dumped the body herself, then hired a contractor who unknowingly covered it with concrete.
Her excuse that she made was that she wanted basically a solid concrete pad to park her boat and some vehicles on.
And Dee Dee has plenty of other cover stories as well, like who really killed Shakespeare. Remember Ronald, the character she made up? A drug dealer who was threatening her?
You were able to contact Ronald, and Ronald told you right where that body was at. Really? But you can't get a hold of Ronald, but you got a hold of Ronald then. Come on, it's over.
I told him I had to meet him back later to make sure.
Dee Dee, there's no Ronald.
Again, we confronted her about this fictitious person, and then she went on to another statement blaming her son, who was 14 years old at the time, that actually shot and killed Abraham Shakespeare at her office.
Dee Dee Moore goes before judge and jury, charged with murder in the first degree. She is found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Crime Watch Daily paid her a visit at the Lowell Correctional Institute in Ocala, Florida, to get her story.
Were you surprised that Greg had set you up in the manner in which he did?
Well, see, I thought he had something to do with Abraham's death to begin with. I was surprised that he was dealing with the cops. And why? Question why? You know, they have to have somebody charged with the body to get at my assets.
The harder you push, Dee Dee, the farther down the rabbit hole you fall.
If you did not kill Abraham Shakespeare, who did?
If I knew that, I don't know. I know there's people out there that do know.
Did you
but choose
help conceal the body once Abraham was killed?
Absolutely not. If I killed this man, I would have not even dug. Why, if I know he's in my yard, why would I go and keep searching? The cops can't do nothing to me. They can question me and I can refuse. I had no clue. And I kept thinking, I wanted to know what happened. They threatened they were gonna kill my son, chop him up in little pieces, and put him on my doorstep.
Did you know that Abraham Shakespeare had been murdered and shot 2 times?
After the fact, later, way when the investigators are coming after me, eventually they tell me what really happened.
You had absolutely no idea that Abraham had been murdered, buried underneath concrete in your backyard.
It was money. It was money. We buried money.
You thought money was being buried.
Uh-huh.
In this version of Dee Dee's story, she claims she and Abraham bury $1 million under the concrete. But that leads to an obvious question.
How does Abraham get in that hole instead of the money?
There is perfect evidence to prove what I'm saying. When the money was buried, we wanted concrete over it so that water wouldn't get into it, because he's going to leave it there for a while. He's going to go away, and when he comes back, we want to be able to dig it up.
I've really honestly haven't met people who bury money in the backyard.
No, you will. After this show, people will come forward. They won't tell you where it's buried, but they're going to tell you, because there's plenty of people out there.
For the record, the only money found in that hole exists in Dee Dee's mind. But minutes after saying she has no idea who killed Abraham, she suddenly remembers. It's a name we all know.
Who do you believe murdered Abraham and buried him in your backyard?
Ronald.
Meanwhile, Greg Smith went back to his barber shop. He lost his good friend Abraham, but he sure has some great stories to tell.
He ended up sweeping the barbershop. Millionaire, straight millionaire. Millions of dollars. He still come to sweep the barbershop, right? He picking up pennies off the ground. I was like, man, what is you picking pennies up for? He said, boy, I got millions of dollars, but pennies make dollars. I tell him, boy, if you don't put that penny down and get out of here, you know what I'm saying? It's just the funny things that...
You wish you would have never won the lottery.
Yeah. Yep. Abraham don't win the lottery. Abraham still lives.
I'm Chris Hansen. If you like this story, make sure you tune in every day to Crime Watch Daily. You can find where the show airs in your city at crimewatchdaily.com. Watch it live or record it on your DVR and watch it at night. And to all those criminals out there, remember, we are watching.